show you really the two different ways that you can create animations in Photoshop. There's some other ways that you can use these methods, but I'm going to show you two different ways that you can use it right off the bat. First thing I'm going to do is go to File and just create a new file. What I'd suggest is making something not super huge, because GIF files are not really supposed to be super large in terms of their file size. So something like 6x6, 150, possibly even smaller than that would be good. This is actually maybe a little bit larger than what we should probably make, but we're going to use this for today. With the new layout, if you don't already have your timeline open, you want to go up to Window and you want to go down to Timeline. Okay. What you'll see right away is you'll see this option right here that says Create Video Timeline or Create Frame Animation. So this little caret drop down at the bottom. What I'm going to do is, for now, I'm going to start with a frame animation. We'll switch over to the timeline later. So I'm going to create a frame animation. This is kind of the old way we've done stuff. Right here, what you have is your layers and you have your timeline. Those are the two main things you need. So what happens is we can create a layer here, and what I'm going to do is just make a shape. So something like circle. I'm going to deselect it, make another new layer, and on this one I'll make a paddle. And one thing about GIFs is really, the goal is to make them loop, for them to be like an honest GIF animation. They don't have to, but let's see, there we go. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is use my move tool. Make sure your show transform and auto selected are turned on. I'm going to option click and drag to duplicate those paddles. So now I have 3 layers, and that is important that everything's on its own layer. Okay, down here, my timeline, I'm going to set up some stuff. So first thing I'm going to say is change my duration. 0 seconds really just means it's playing really fast. So I'm going to change it to 0.1, slow it down a little bit. I'm also going to change the play time to go forever, so it never stops. Okay. So what I have here is first cell. This is where everything's at. Okay, I can click on anything and move it and put it in place, but that's where it's going to be first cell. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is hit this button right here which says duplicate. Okay, and what duplicate does is it allows me to move, create a new cell and then move stuff around. So, oops. One thing you saw me rotate there, and I wanted to undo that and just hit enter. You cannot rotate or make modifications to layers in terms of rotation and scale. You can only change them in terms of position. So basically you can move the paddles and ball, but you cannot change how big they are or their scale or rotation. So kind of a weird thing, but there's ways around that, kind of. Not like really around it, but there's ways you can make this work if you wanted to make changes like that. So I just kind of kept creating frames here, duplicating. That's really the only thing you can do. You can't really make a new blank frame. You just turn everything off. And I use my move tool just to select, auto-select stuff. I have that checked up here, and I'm able to move stuff. And when I hit play, you can see there's my movement. Okay, and I'm not sure if it's probably not fully looped, but if I wanted to, I could probably get this back. Maybe like have this be the last cell or something. So I could duplicate cell 1 and move it to the end. Might slow the animation down a little bit. Kind of looks like it pauses there, but you kind of get the idea. I could kind of work a little bit more on getting that tied up. The other thing you could do is create tweens. So what I do with a tween is I either click my first or second and say I want to make an in-between animation between these two cells. I can either click the first one, the second one, or shift select the two. And then I go down to these multiple spheres. And what this does, it gives me the option to tween. Essentially create the in-between frames that are there. That right now it's playing really fast. So I'm going to say, let's try, instead of 5, let's go with 3 frames. You can see it blanks out because I have it shift selected, so I have to do a selection. You can also change what parameters. For now, we're just going to leave it on. We didn't do any of those changes anyway, but you could have stuff fade in. You could have position effects, all that stuff change. So I'm going to hit OK. You're going to see what it did was it created the in-between frames 1 and 2, and now I have 2, 3, 4. This was my old 2. Okay, so if I wanted to make that happen again, I do the same thing. All right, so 1, 2, 3, and there's the next frame, it looks like. So let's see what that looks like. I'm not sure. I might have messed something up here, but whatever. Not a big deal. So you can see at the beginning is where I have those tweens now and how much smoother it is, which is good and bad. It's going to slow it down, so that's something to just consider. From here, that's kind of really how you make a frame animation. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to make a brand new file. I'm going to show you another way to do a frame animation. Okay, same thing. I'm just going to go 6x6. With this one, what we're going to do is I'm going to go to Google, and I'm just going to search an image. Okay, so down here while that loads up, I'm going to say create frame animation. I'm going to set it up 0.1 and forever. Okay. Now I'm going to go to Google. Right, and I'm going to look for some kind of image. So Stormtrooper helmet. Okay, so find one that you like. I'm going to use this one for now. And what I'm going to do is just drag it in. Okay. Scale that guy up. I don't want to fill that space. And what we do here is we have one image, and now you can do this with different images, but I'm just going to do it with one for the sake of time. What we're going to do here is I'm going to right-click over on my layer, and I'm going to go up to Duplicate Layer. Okay, just hit OK. And I want to do that a couple times. Now, I think there's a hotkey for this too. Layer, let's see. Duplicate Layer. It looks like there is not, but no big deal. So, thought there was. Okay, so here we go. So now I have 5 different versions of this, all the same right now. What I'm going to do is I want you to change these somehow. That might be like rotating. Okay, it might be rotating and then going to filter. Oops, hit return or double click to apply it. Go to your filter gallery. All right, I'm going to do this one for it. Okay, turn off the eyeball for that one. Go to the next one. Okay, and what this is really doing here is instead of what we did before, where everything's on different layers, or everything's on different layers, but it doesn't really. We don't really want a visual change. This time we want it to visually look like it's like, you know, changing colors or animating or doing something else. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the layers to turn them on and off. Okay, so you know, you can kind of mess around here, but I'll leave the original as layer 1, so there's no change there. So what you're going to see is here on cell 1, I'm just going to leave it as showing the eyeball for layer 1, the original. Then for cell 2, I'm going to turn that eyeball off, turn on the next one. Okay, so on and so forth. Turn off the old one, turn on a new one, turn off the old one, turn on the new one, and then here's my last one. Okay, so now when I play this, it's going to have some kind of like, you know, just quick flipbook animation. This would be the same way that if you wanted to do like take a bunch of pictures of yourself, that could be different. Like maybe your head's rotating or something. You could bring this in and or you know, bring your pictures in and then have them flip, showing one layer to one layer. So kind of a similar way. This time I'm only doing one image. So I'm gonna stop. I'm not gonna save that one either. Though you could if you just want the file save. Actually, you know what? Let's export it real quick as a GIF. So if you want to go to File and then Export, go to Save for Web Legacy. Okay, and this sends it out. The most important thing in this window is that it's a GIF file. Okay, and then we just hit Save and we tell it where to go. Okay, now this is saving the final file. You still would want a file save as a PSD file. So I'm just gonna send this to my folder. All right. And what you're going to see then is in that folder, let's see, here's my file, the GIF file. You have to leave that .gif at the end. What I'm going to do then is hit spacebar, and then boom, it'll play. The other way you can have this play is you can drag and drop it into any like you know, web browser, so like Chrome or Safari, and it'll preview it for you. All right. So actually, I think I'm going to stop the demo here, and the next demo will have how to do a timeline animation.